So Toby Dog, we are officially in the worst time of year here on the farm. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the midst of goose mating season. And for those of you who are not aware or familiar with goose mating season, let me just tell you, it is the most chaotic, hellacious time here at Goldshaw Farm. You know, we have 40 mature geese here on the farm and they're all mating up and pairing up, and it's loud. And it's absolutely chaotic. And in today's video, we're gonna take a closer look at goose mating season and what's actually going on. Let loose the goose! You know, a lot of people will tell you that geese mate for life, and that is absolutely a myth. When it comes down to it, from what I've seen, geese mate for a season. But each time you have a fresh season, you have a fresh set of courting rituals and a fresh batch of geese looking to get to know each other and pair off appropriately. From what I've seen, they stay fairly monogamous over the course of that mating season, but the establishment of that mating hierarchy and that mating structure leads to absolute chaos. You know, you have your ganders positioning for the best possible females. You have the females looking for the best possible ganders, and there can often be friction and violence. And then particularly with geese, they are also very faction-based as well. So here on our farm, we have like 3 different cliques of geese, or maybe 4 if you really want to count them one way. You know, for example, as you can see in the back, these are the buff geese crew. They're kind of their own flock unto themselves. Bruce the goose is the lead gander. There's also a couple of younger ganders who've joined up with them. But there can often be territory skirmishes between the buffs and our other 2 flocks. We have House Slytherin, which is basically our first 2 years of raising geese, all of those older geese. And you can see most of them actually here, but there are certain younger ones, like this fella right here, this big guy, who's sort of a mixture of colors. He's joined up with House Slytherin, and they've formed a pretty good team. Justin Finch Fletchley, who is actually the gander right there in the middle, he is actually the oldest gander and kind of the patriarch. Yeah, we have had like this gander here, as well as that big Toulouse gander in the back. Like, they sort of still report to Justin, but Justin's willing to share with them and treat them as such. Then we have our teenagers, who are kind of a younger batch. They were all hatched out last year. They might ultimately fall in with the other geese, but right now they form their own flock. And then if I was gonna call out a 4th group, it would be the Parks and Recreation gang. The Parks and Rec gang consists of about 4 or 5 geese, plus Ron Swanson, the duck who thinks she's a goose. They were all hatched out back in the spring of 2020, and they have formed like their own cohesive flock. But they actually tend to drift in with House Slytherin too at times, as well as even with the buff gooses at times. So they kind of mix in pretty well with others. And so what you're gonna see with the geese is that they're gonna often face off and battle each other. They're battling for the best possible mates, they're battling for the best possible resources, and they're battling for things like mating positions and mating locations, as well as nesting locations. And all in all, it can get kind of ugly. Come on, chickens, I know you're hungry too, come on. I'll feed you inside, come on, chickens. All right, we're gonna hook you up with some fresh water. And I've got an extra special treat for the chickens. Leftovers! Ginny, don't eat out of the takeout container. Hey! Get out of there. Little Ginny's trying to get in on the chicken food. It's pretty darn adorable. Ginny, I'm gonna feed you in a couple minutes. Cat who thinks she's a chicken, I swear. Oh, she even does her business in the chicken house. Good job, Ginny. Filthy animal. You filthy animal. Don't let anybody convince you that cats are clean animals. Looks like Toby decided to help out the chickens with those leftovers. Buck the rooster does not look pleased. Tensions are still a little bit high with Toby and Ginny. Like, they're not like on top of each other fighting, but Ginny seems to like to give Toby crap. You know, the other day I was shooting a thumbnail for the last video that you guys saw, and it was funny. Like, it started off being like a picture of me and Toby, and then Ginny came over and jumped on my shoulder, and I'm like, oh, this is great. This is gonna be awesome. I'll have me, Ginny, and Toby in one picture. It'll make such a good video thumbnail. It'll like make people love this video. This will be great. And then suddenly Ginny attacked Toby dog. It was so violent. It was awful. I felt so bad. Ginny actually scratched Toby dog right on the nose. Let me check your scar. Got a little bit of a scratch and there was blood, but he's okay. But yeah, Ginny can be a little bit of a vicious killer. She does not fear Toby. And why do you keep going to the bathroom in the chicken house? I don't get it. This is the way I live. Clearly she's trying to establish dominance. Such a weird cat. All right, we can leave these guys all to do their thing. We're gonna check back in with them in a minute. But first, let's go let out the ducks. Release the quackers! Now with ducks, you don't have nearly the same problems that you do with geese. You know, when it comes to ducks, while they can actually be very aggressive to their females, as long as you have your numbers in balance, it's okay. For example, we have about 5 female ducks for every drake or male duck here on the farm. And those numbers keep everything relatively chill. And there isn't nearly the chaos that we have when it comes to the geese. Geese mating is a little bit differently, and so our flock of geese is consisting of about 2/3 females and 1/3 male, roughly. They're actually also a lot harder to identify sex-wise, and so it's not an exact number, but I do know about 1/3 of them are ganders, and I'm pretty sure about 2/3 of them are ladies. You know, the geese aren't too happy with me right now. I've kind of locked them out of one of their favorite hangout spots. Like, they're all congregating in here right now. They used to like to go inside that shed and kind of warm up and sit on the straw and really enjoy themselves. Now they can't do that. I'm surprised they actually haven't gone into their hoop coop. That was actually, if I was like planning all this out, that's what I thought they would do. But instead, they just seem to loiter now in this area. I don't want them in here because, again, that's where the puppy's gonna go live. And I don't want to mix a puppy up with geese because it would be bad for both the geese and the puppy. You know, when Toby was a puppy, I was very careful with how I introduced him to the geese. And ultimately, he got into a very good place with them. But I didn't want the geese to be overly aggressive with him. And I didn't want him to learn bad habits with the geese. Because there were times when those geese would nip him and attack him. You know, teaching him to just not respond and to walk away. That might have been one of the hardest parts of raising a livestock guardian dog like Toby. You know, the fact that our puppy's coming here in the midst of goose mating season, that is not lost on me in terms of why it's important to keep her away from the geese unless I can control her and unless I can supervise her. You're just hitching a ride there, Ginny. Did you get any good footage on your camera? Here, we're gonna take a look. Hey, Anna Green Gables, how's it going there, girl? Looks like you all could use some fresh hay. What do you think, Ann? Are you hungry? Ooh, look at her get up. Ugh, big stretch. Yeah, you ate down most of this hay. We got our girl, Annabelle, resting on the bed of that hay. They don't seem to like that one bale that's out in the background there. Looks like Kurt Cobain is getting the last of this one. I've been overfeeding them, so I think I'm only gonna give them one bale right now. Yeah, they've been doing really well with the hay. Yeah, I'll just give them one bale. There you can see more geese fighting. I don't even know what they're fighting about at this point. Toby dog just like doesn't even want to be around any of this chaos. I think those little silky chickens are a little bit worried about where they're at too right now. They're like, must retreat to higher ground. Fortunately, my tractor has still had to remain parked outside because I can't fit it into the barn. Definitely a first world problem, but a problem nonetheless. I had to use the pallet forks again, so let's decide on which bale we want today. I think we're gonna take this bale right here. You like it when I unwrap the bales too, I can tell. Hay day is both Ginny's favorite day as well as the cattle's favorite day. Our tractor should be good and warmed up at this point. In case you're wondering about the barn parking spot, I don't know if you can see this, but like right there is just a total patch of ice. And it's supposed to go down about a foot so I can fit the tractor in, but no, it's not. The cattle are doing pretty darn good for the winter. I mean, their winter area is working out fairly well. The watering setup working out pretty good. I think the biggest concern I have is water is definitely melting and then coming down here into the barn. I can't even get like some of this stuff now. And so I just know I'm gonna have a soupy, muddy mess come mud season. And that's definitely gonna be a problem I'm gonna have to solve. But for the most part, everything else is going really well with the cattle. You got Anna Green Gables right here, who's actually still my shyest cow. And I don't know, she's letting me get pretty close to her. She still won't eat from my hand, but she also doesn't freak out the way she used to. Jean wants to join the cattle for a bite to eat, it looks like. What do you think, Jen? You want to be a cow someday? Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, I think they're all pregnant. I think they're all showing signs of pregnancy, and they haven't shown signs of not being pregnant, and so I'm gonna keep crossing my fingers and hoping for the best that things go down in the late May, early June time period is kind of what I'm thinking it's gonna be. So stay tuned with that one though. Stay out of here, murder man. This is Toby's food. Hey, get. You too. Ow, ow, ow. Water! I've noticed that Toby actually likes his meal highly soupy. So, soupy it is. Who's the bestest puppy dog in the world who deserves all the good things? Yes, you. That's you, buddy. Enjoy. Let's look at your nose. Ooh, I can still see where the scratch was, but it's all healed up. That's good. I don't have so many geese in my duck house. Huh? What's going on in here? So for those who are wondering, we still haven't gotten any goose eggs so far this year, which is weird because it's actually kind of late. Usually by mid-February, late February, we're like full on in laying season. And by the time I hit early March, they're dropping them, I don't know, getting like at least a half a dozen a day. Unfortunately, right now, I'm not getting any. I don't know what it is. I'm not getting any duck eggs either. So I wonder if, I don't know. I wonder what it could be. I was even talking to a friend of mine. She has a duck, goose, and chicken breeding operation about an hour from here. And she was saying, yeah, no, she's been flushed with eggs. So definitely my birds. Probably just means that their cycle is gonna be later this year, which is actually a good thing for me because it's way too early for me to start any hatching activity here on the farm. I really generally don't like to start hatching until late March at the earliest. And so if I push my season back a little bit, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But yeah, I find geese to be magical creatures, and even though they're a little bit chaotic and a little bit noisy, and mating season is not to be trifled with, I'm really glad we have them on our farm. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys over in that next video.